Abraham Harold Maslow was born in 1908 and died while jogging of a heart attack in 1970. Maslow was a psychology professor at a few different universities and was committed to stressing the importance of focusing on the positive qualities in folks rather than treating them as, quote, a bag of symptoms. Maslow is one of the most famous psychologists of the 20th century and left behind for you and I his hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory built in a pyramid structure with the bottom layer being the most important as the foundation necessary to build upon.
The top of the pyramid is self-actualization, and it is the end goal of Maslow's hierarchy.
Maslow's hierarchy is a theory that states if someone is able to reach a psychological health standard predicated on fulfilling human needs, innate to each of us, that the person shall experience the culmination of self-logics, the id, that will culminate in self-actualization. The 1950s served as the decade of the Humanistic movement, where expressing from self-realization was most sought after within the self-help community. To be creative and express in this newfound renaissance of illumination in any medium was the rage as the movement moved into the 60s, and well, you don't really need me to explain the summer of love, do you? So let's start with the basic principles behind Maslow's humanistic psychology. And they are, number one, when someone is functioning in the present, not in the past and not in the future, then said person is in their most significant aspect. The aspect being regarded here as talent or specialization. Number two, to be able to take personal responsibility for actions, whether they be positive or negative, and that will denote the mental health of individuals. Number three, each person is worthy. While some actions may be negative, that doesn't devalue any person as an entity worthy of love. So number four, ultimately, the goal of personal growth is to work on constant self-improvement and self-understanding, and these goals and activities will only ever be the way to true happiness. It's worth noting that if someone is prone to being optimistic, they won't have a hard time with Maslow's hierarchy, as these optimists typically believe in good folks and free will. It's important to know that humans aren't blindly acting and that we do make rational and real decisions. We strive to make things greater. Maslow studied healthy individuals instead of folks who had mental issues. He focused on how they were achieving their self-actualization. Folks that had self-actualized reported being in harmony with the world and oneself. People who have peak experiences or high points of life tended to have more harmony and balance. In Maslow's view, he believed that psychonautic, aka psychedelic drugs, like psilocybin, if under the right set and setting, can produce these peak experiences, and at later dates, you or others may be able to recreate these peak moments, any healthy individual. Maslow also felt that moments of extraordinary experiences, again, this is called a peak experience, full of large emotions, would be profound moments of love, understanding, happiness, or rapture. During these moments, one feels more whole, alive, self-sufficient, and simultaneously feeling at one with the world. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a basic human right, and it is within the reach of all humans. It is within the reach of everyone who dares claim their true identities and their divine self. How do we get there? How do we start our own personal journey into self-actualization? One step at a time. What's the first step? To fulfill your basic needs and provide for yourself, food, clothing, and shelter. That's how you fulfill your first basic needs. Some folks struggle with this basic needs bucket, and if you're one of them, please reach out to your local shelter, food bank, or religious leader. These folks specialize in helping anyone get their first 3 needs. After that, it's about art. No, not paints and crafts. Well, that is unless that's your kink. After you get your basic foundation of your food, clothing, and shelter in place, we move on to the next rung of the ladder. Some people refer to this as Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder can be used for a myriad of examples of moving through a self journey, but here we're talking about it through the pyramid as we climb up the ladder of Maslow. So after you get your food, clothing, and shelter, you're going to have to get your safety needs fulfilled. And your safety needs are literal as well as sensory and include things like being safe from abuse from family members and being safe from community issues such as riots. Social needs then are the next rung up the Maslow hierarchy, and they're about being liked and fitting in. We do well when we have a team around us. When we have a supportive crew helping us, we have then built the firm foundation of social needs, and then we can then move up the hierarchy. Self-esteem is the next rung, and it is gathered from our social groups and community achievements. Jobs and community and other forms of societal recognition will fill this emotional need of Maslow, giving you a firm foundation to further move up the ladder to self-actualization. Now, getting up to the top of the pyramid isn't easy, and I know reading and writing and listening to this video makes it seem super easy to achieve illumination just walking up a step, right? But if it were easy, we would all be doing it. And when finally the first 4 levels of our Maslow are fulfilled, and it will take people time. It will take all of us time. It takes some people lifetimes. But when we get there, when we are finally at the top of our pyramid, we can see exactly like the pharaohs and the gods and the queens and the sages before us.